St. Petersburg is the capital of the Empire of Russia. It's the most European city in the state. Its history and evolution are incredible without a host of splendid representatives of some foreigners who had a great influence to culture, science, education, industry, even at all Russian state, not only Petersburg. Nobel's family history is a powerful illustration of this statement. The dynasty patriarch was Emmanuel Nobel, and his sons, Ludwig, Robert and Alfred, were already talented inventors and businessmen. Being Swedish patriarchs, they won in Russian through success and confession. The plans of their own had been manufacturing various weapons and naval steamboats. Nobel brothers had founded the first oil company in the world. The senior brother, Ludwig, had founded the Nobel Brothers Partnership for Oil Manufacturing. This enterprise had played the defining role for progress of Baku oil fields and even all Russian oil industry. After Ludwig's death, his widow Edla Nobel had bought in 1894 the Ala Kirilla homestead. At present, the Landeshavka settlement placed her as a part of Sovietsky township in Vyborg district of Leningrad region. The Edla's choice for this place was not an accident. First of all, it's closely near the town of Vyborg, which was so acquainted and beloved by her. Then Edla were appreciated the waterside and Kirilla placed exactly on the bank of Finnish Bay, where the northern nature opened its amazing beauty. Then Edla were appreciated the waterside and Kirilla placed exactly on the bank of Finnish Bay, where the northern nature opened its amazing beauty. In order to collect all her big family of 7 children in that paradise, Mrs. Noble ordered to erect new house. It was designed by architect Gustav Nystrom. Impression of their homestead main building for aborigines was such as a king's palace. Professor Nystrom also designed additional constructions. Stables, coach sheds, tide coops, duck farms, all buildings were incorporated to a unique architectural ensemble. At the main territory, the big English-styled park was established by Edla. More than 400 of decorative trees, bushes and flowers were imported and implanted at the garden. Aborigines committed to a memory of Mrs. Edla Noble as a kind-hearted woman who had cared about her neighbors and their needs. Many of them got a job at the homestead. Aside from the main house, some tough-built houses were erected for servants. At a village nearby was built a school. Housekeeping specialized school for girls was founded at the expense of Mrs. Noble, so as teachers pay. The main part of these photos are kept at Peter Alenikov's family archive. Great-grandson of Ludwig and Edla was one from the last people who lived this place. Despite he was just a child, Peter Alenikov collects and keeps carefully his relatives' memories, photographs and other documents in connection with homestead.
Efter Edlas bortgång.
After Edla's death, my granddad and grandma George and Marta Alenikov were responsible for homestead and for its progress. My grandma was going in for poultry, chickens and goose, and she established big poultry farms. She earned a great reputation as an agriculture for women, especially in Finland. Granddad was a botanist, so there were greenhouses on the island, which name was George's, and now named Doctor's. Island's garden was surrounded by the wall from 2 to 3 meters height based on the stony foundation. This foundation persists even nowadays. South side walls were equipped with nested glass cases. Greenhouses have had the steam heating supplied by underground steam pipe. At this greenhouse, George Alenikov incubated actually grapes and peaches and corn and even pineapples. For all young boys, Joey Huntsman served at a homestead. The name of this hunter was Bot. He spoke to my father in a melodious way in Finnish-Swedish language mix while they are coming back from hunting. The most heavy luggage are empty sacks. This proverb means that even you got a big heavy trophy, it's rather easy to move it home than coming back empty-handed. A lot of sports were going in for skis at winter, yachting, so that we sailed as windjammers. There were rather big sailing ships in context of this period. Nobel brothers had built a motorboat named Brothers. The family and luggage were transported from Kirjala and backwards from one door to another. These living apartments in Petersburg also have placed actually by waterside. This motorboat was equipped with 2 diesel engines assembled at Nobel's plant in St. Petersburg. Then in 1917 this boat was sold to Finnish boatlender. He had made a fair trade among Sweden and Finland. The boat was very high speed and unreachable for a coast guard. It could be declared, but our family had obliquely promoted the fair trade among Sweden and Finland. All of family members were welcomed at Kirjala. All brothers, sisters and their family were absolutely desirable guests. I had known my grandmother very well, that she was a wonderful woman who met everybody with wide embrace, and she loved and took care of everybody. According to the narrations of my mommy, Maria Wilhelmovna Schack, her family was rather closely connected with Nobel's family. I suppose that this relation began from the Martha Nobel schooling at St. Petersburg Women's Medicine College. Here this building, where we now are, was presented by Nobel's family to the city of St. Petersburg. In my mother's memories about her early years, he had visited Nobel's homestead in Finland with her father. It was dated approximately about beginning of the 1920s, and she was impressed stupendously. This splendid child's memory she kept for all her lifetime. She remembered enormous greenhouse at the homestead, and exotic fruits and vegetables were incubated there, pineapples and bananas among them. During the wartime, Finnish military men insisted for necessity of blowing up of our homestead, so as other tall buildings with long-distance visibility, such as St. John Cathedral at Viborg, which was destructed at the same time. The main part of our property, such as furniture, arts and carpets, were sent out, but jewels, silverware, finery were buried because of the war of wartime, refugees and war disasters. But now it's useless to search for buried treasure. When the Soviet troops been retiring and the Finnish army been attacking, our family had returned and dug the finery. My grandma wrote in her book that she and her sister were the last who left the Kirjala in October 1940. It was very difficult to evacuate emotionally, but because of the trains were full of Finnish refugees going to the west. At the same time I tried to achieve the Sweden, where all our family were living this time yet. Only owing to the friendship of my grandma and skipper of ferryboat on Turku to Stockholm line, we have got benches on this ferryboat and returned to Sweden. This site in Landeshevka now is a property of Peterburgian family. They owned it as a heritage in 1973. There was a hill overgrown with a bush. When the new proprietors began to clean the territory, they understood that this site is rather cryptic and the hill was the remain of the house, exploded during the Winter War, and it seemed the former owners were very rich people. Lyudmila Fyodorovna, the house mistress, tells that cleaning of the site was very careful, like archaeological research, been holding in the mind historical interest. A long time ago, Lyudmila Fyodorovna had done an independent investigation of the former owner's information.
Это был, конечно, красивый
Of course, it
замок.
was a beautiful castle, but now it's just a photocopy of this construction. It's hard to imagine about the interior. People talk there was any hall, living room, which was with very beautiful chandeliers. Whoa, there were detected small crystalline pieces, maybe the parts of chandeliers, but burnt yet. It could be valued, some of them, anywhere so as anything, what could be kept as a relic not thrown away. Behind myself there was Nobel's property. The tower of the mansion's main building, where was the Swedish flag, rose out of the trees overlooking the Finnish Gulf. Today the building is not preserved. It was destroyed during the war. Now here are only outbuildings, granite shed, red brick stables. Also there were 2 house workers' buildings. Now they are available and our citizens live there. According to invitation from the Sovietsky township mayor Andrei Nekrasov, Pyotr Nobel Aleynikov and his wife Anna have visited his native land after 70 years. Because of the last time I was here in the early 1940s, at the time a big building had stood here. But the war events are unchangeable. But whatever, being here today is a magic feeling, and I am very blessed for the opportunity of this visit. And this is an album which my father decorated as a gift to my grandma. It contains memories from 1939 till 1940s. She named this as a final act. Hereby the history of the Kerala is finishing for us, but to finish only with a dot and the date should be incorrect. It's the same as to depart without gratitude for the gift and without goodbye. For our mother, for us, sisters and brothers, for our kids, for grandchildren, the Kerala was a